So to learn more about the Fatigue Warrior course and to register, go to fatiguewarrior.com. And also, if you want a sneak peek of the program, listeners can download my free Fatigue Warrior guide, which is basically my 5-step solution to fight adrenal fatigue naturally. And you can do so by joining my newsletter on my main website at angelawatsonrobertson.com. I help people who are tired of being tired. So often these people have adrenal fatigue, but they may not know it. Years ago when I was working in a very busy and fast-paced sales job, I ended up finding out I had adrenal fatigue, and I was just like many listeners, and I said, well, what is this adrenal fatigue thing? And then it began a journey, and over the past 5 years, I've really learned a lot and been able to figure out what works best for my body and then help a lot of people feel better as well. And many people don't think adrenal fatigue is a concern or that it even exists. So, I was recently talking to someone and they said fatigue is like the foreplay of illness. So I think fatigue is kind of a precursor to inflammation. And inflammation, as we now know, is connected to so many other health problems. So, what I tell people when they say, hey, where do I start, is often I'm an integrated nutrition health coach. So I'm going to say, let's start with diet. So let's start with putting in foods that are really going to boost your energy and then getting rid of any foods and trying to stay away from the foods that are going to drain your energy. That's kind of the first step.
What does it mean to become a reinvention warrior?
Yeah, so a reinvention warrior is someone who will do whatever it takes to create a life they love. And for me, I often say, hey, if you want to reinvent yourself, we need to start with your health. And maybe somebody already has, a great state of health, so then you move on to other things. But most Americans and a lot of people I talk to, they first need to look at some health areas that they want to work on. They want to feel more energy. They want to feel excited to get up in the morning. And so we start there. And a reinvention warrior, in my experience, is somebody who's willing to take risks, to grow, evolve, and change. Somebody who's open to new ways of thinking and being in the world. And somebody who's committed to being the best version of themselves each day. So to be a reinvention warrior, we don't have to be, necessarily like Wonder Woman, that recent movie. Maybe to reinvent your life is to just start drinking more water, or to start eating more of a whole foods diet. Or maybe it's changing the way you're thinking and talking to yourself every day. Maybe that's how you reinvent yourself. I'm known as a reinvention warrior because I've reinvented my life and my health, more times than I can count. And, one quote that I really love by George Bernard Shaw is, life isn't about finding yourself, which we often hear people say, I'm going to go find myself. But life is about creating yourself. So for me, that starts with, how you feel mentally, emotionally, and physically, and it starts with health. The most important kind of first step to reinvention is to identify your priorities and your values and make sure that the majority of what is on your calendar and on your bank statement, so what you spend your time and money on, is in alignment with the values and priorities that you have right now in your life. And they're going to constantly be changing. Even if you don't necessarily feel like you're at a huge crossroads in your life, but you're asking yourself, I wonder if I need to change something. Chances are, if you're asking yourself that, you probably do. And that doesn't mean, necessarily quitting your job or ending your relationship. As I mentioned before, it could be simply a shift in perception. It could be a miracle as it's defined in A Course in Miracles. And another quote by Marianne Williamson that kind of answers that question a little bit is, you must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. So that's where sometimes that first step, or kind of that first little nudge, is, hey, what am I thinking? And that can be connected also to, gratitude, which I know you and I have talked about a lot.
Part of this, Angela, is making sure that we have the tools. And that's why you've created this program, the Fatigue Warrior, right?
Yeah. So the Fatigue Warrior program is really, it kind of was created out of my own journey. So, when I realized that I had adrenal fatigue and I was looking for resources and I was talking to some of my doctors and talking to some of my other practitioners about it, I realized that there wasn't necessarily a comprehensive solution out there that was a combination of someone really holding my hand through the process and also a lot of information that had been really carefully researched and presented to me. And I also got very frustrated because many people I talked to kind of thought I was either making something up or they didn't take me seriously. So I said, it'd be really great to offer offer to people a home study course where they can, learn and study on their own time, but then also allow them coaching via email and over the phone. And then I do think supplements are important as well. So that's why I've added in supplements to my program, because there are a few supplements I think everybody should take for optimal health. So it's kind of a great way for somebody to work one-on-one with someone, but to also get a lot of information that they can go through on their own time to really, take their health into their own hands.